They're the ones who make it happen. They're the ones who get it done. And that's why we shine the spotlight on them on Business for Breakfast. It's time now for the Business Leaders Spotlight on Money Radio.
Well, it is that time of the week once again. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:35 a.m., we sit down and visit with some of the Valley's business leaders, both men and women, making a huge difference right here in our own backyard and our community. Our next guest has been doing that for a few decades here in the Valley. He is considered one of the most elite custom home builders, not just in Arizona, but in the nation, and we are very excited to have him on. His company, BedBrock Developers, among other things he's got his hands in. His name is Rich Brock, and he joins us this morning on Business for Breakfast. Rich, Mark Asher, how are you, sir?
Mark, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome, man. I mean, I'm looking at Crown Canyon, and that makes me happy. And that's one of your great things that you've done. Hey, I want to go back a little bit, and this is what we do in the Business Leader Spotlight. I mean, we're going to talk about, your custom homes and the luxury and all the estates and all that good stuff, but you didn't come out of the gates necessarily as a custom home builder, correct?
Oh, that's correct. Actually, my background is engineering, and I started out in the tech world and built a company and had spent probably about 15 years in that world. And when I sold my business, as a child, I loved the hands-on guy. I loved to do small remodels for like neighbors. As a child, I should say as a teenager. And I just loved housing and development, and I always got a rush being around it. So when I sold my company, I decided, you know what, this is going to be a second career for me. And, I had the technical background, the engineering mind, but really I was more on the creative side. So I always felt like you're using all sides of your brain when you're building a home, because you have to understand the technical side and, of course, create something beautiful. And, I just pursued that, started buying land really started in Paradise Valley. So I thought, if I'm going to start big. And it was kind of a hobby out the gate. It really wasn't intended to be a business, but we just grew organically. I will tell you, I started in 95, but incorporated my company in 02. And in 05, we were selected at the time by Arizona Foothills magazine for a show house. And we did this really authentic Italian sort of Tuscan Sienna villa. And it was all about authenticity for me back then and quality. So I used to travel to Europe and get ideas. And really, I was always amazed by how homes in Europe, most of them are built during the Renaissance, and how they could be 700-800 years old and still be standing and still looking great. So really, I pursued the technical side of that to understand how can we build a better home here? Because typically in Arizona, homes last about 40 years and they tear them down. So it's, they're just production style homes, right? They pop up, They don't last. There's a lot of maintenance. And I thought, how can we build something that will last for generations? And so I really pursued that along with authenticity when I came out the gate. And so the home was selected as a show house. It was very authentic. And that kind of launched my business, really, because at that point, we were getting lots of calls. There were like 45 pages of that home in Arizona Foothills magazine. And we just got a ton of calls, and we started building more specs. And over time, as I've built this company, it's really progressed more into we're building these luxury subdivisions. But our plan is 100% luxury. We're not trying to compromise anywhere. We just want to build a great house that we're super proud of.
How many square feet was that first house? Do you remember?
The one that was in Foothills?
Yeah.
That one was about, I think it was around 7,000.
Okay, which is a large home. At what point, and does your philosophy or the way you do things change? I mean, I'm looking at some of these lots in Crown County, 18,000 square foot home, 14,000, 11. These are uber luxury. This isn't luxury. This is like the next step up. When did you start, expanding the size and the depth and get into that uber luxury market?
So I've always been in the luxury market, and the home sizes are typically where I will call the mainstream luxury market is. So for example, Paradise Valley, we went from, if you want to talk about early 2000s, the average size was around 7,500 feet. We went through '08 and then we had the crash, it readjusted to about 5,500 feet is what the mainstream market was looking for. So we were building homes around that size. Then, if we fast forward to COVID of 2019, 2020, suddenly, people wanted to be home, and they wanted to reincorporate an exercise room or a theater room, which kind of faded away because we couldn't go to theaters, we couldn't go to the gym, and people want larger home offices. So the homes today, on average, would be about 8,500 feet. So we're building, our market is the upper end of luxury. So we call it ultra luxury. And that average home size is around 9,000 to 10,000 feet.
If you're just tuning in this morning, we are visiting with Rich Brock. He is a custom home developer, BedBrock Developers, BedBrock Real Estate Company. You got a lot of different things for someone that did this as a side hobby 20 years ago. So obviously it's grown and it's done well. And we talk about Crown Canyon, which is one of those uber or ultra luxury kind of estate communities almost, right? I mean, there's about 10, 12 lots, something like that?
Yeah, so Crown Canyon is our newest subdivision that we're building now. It's unbelievable location. It's literally in the Phoenix Mountain Preserve, but it has a Paradise Valley address.
Oh wow!
So you go back all the way back into the preserve behind a gate. There's 30 acres, and they're all hillside, beautiful mountainside lots, and there are 12 lots in there. So the prices or the sizes of those homes are anywhere from 6,200 feet, which is the smallest one, up to around 25,000 feet. And the price ranges will range from 9 million up to 30 million. But it's targeted for the ultra luxury, exclusive, gated. It's sort of that Beverly Park community, that's the comparison of California.
Sure.
It's really going to be the most iconic community in this state when it's all said and done.
If you wanted to find out more about that, I think you can just go to the website, crowncanyon.com. Look around. It's breathtaking. Some of it are obviously renderings. And a lot of these homes are built to design, right?
Yeah. So actually we have currently 8 showcase or spec homes that are completely designed and will be built so someone could just buy as is or add, change, whatever.
Right.
And there will be 3 custom lots in the upper canyon of the Crown Canyon community.
What do you see as next? I mean, you've reached this, I don't want to call it the pinnacle because none of us are ever done, right, Rich? But you have all these accolades. You're considered the best in Arizona, one of the best in the nation. What's next for this company? And again, I kind of joke, you said you did this as a hobby, but it's obviously grown into much more than that. What gets you excited to look at the next project?
Well, interesting that you mentioned that. We just last week launched a new division of BedBrock called BedBrock Real Estate Company. And the reason why I did this is I felt like there was a void in the industry. Well, we did it for 2 reasons. One, we needed in-house sales for our own projects. It was hard outsourcing that because we were realistically a part-time for any agency.
Right.
So we needed full-time focus on our projects and product. The second thing, what we realized is the void was in the marketplace, and for years I've been a real estate purchaser, is you really didn't get that level of service at the high end. Like, for example, when someone lists a home, I don't want to sound. I think most agents will take any house, if it's handed to them to list. We're very discerning about that. So what we're going to do before we actually list a home, we're looking at it from a luxury point of view. We are going to quote unquote luxury certify the home. So the advantage we have over any other brokerage is we have a building company that is focused on luxury. So if you called me up, Mike, and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about buying a house. Can you just take a walk through it?" I would point out many things probably in the house that weren't constructed properly or details that weren't done right. And I would show you that, hey, you might be better off not buying this house or maybe doing these things to the home to improve it. So if it's a quality high-end builder that we know of and we go through the home, if we like the home, we will luxury certify it. So it gives confidence now to the buyer, and also the seller has some designation on that house. So for both sides, it's a great feeling that we were actually certifying it. And ultimately, over time, we believe we're going to create a standard in the industry on the high end.
Right. Rich Brock, BedBrock Developers, formerly organized in 2002, Extraordinary Luxury Home Developers. That's what the website says. Rich, before I let you go, let's give what you want people to go look at. So a couple websites or just one. What's the best way to follow you guys?
Yep. So thank you. It's bedbrock.com, and it's BEDBROCK. That will have virtually everything we do in there, all of our divisions and all of our homes. And then, as you mentioned, crowncanyon.com is specific for that community, and all the renderings are in there, all the information on Crown Canyon.
And finally, I have to leave. James wants to know if you put the elevator in my home. I said no, not yet. So.
Well, after the radio show, if you want to call me, maybe we can arrange.
Yeah, maybe we could do
you.
something. Maybe just like a pull thing, just a little cart going up and down. Just save some time. Rich, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate it. Sorry about last week and the confusion, but it's good to have you on the program. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck and success. Good luck in 2022, and let's catch up again soon. All right.
Thank you. Really appreciate the time this morning.
Of course. Rich Brock, our business leader spotlight, the owner and founder of BedBrock Developers, crowncanyon.com, bedbrock.com. Go check it out. Even if you just want to browse. If you're like, I can't buy a $9 million home. Okay, but go look. Doesn't cost you anything to look. These houses are gorgeous. Unbelievable.